Welcome to level 9 of the Highline Ticklist. So, feet to shoulder, some people call this trick the kamikaze because it's quite some commitment to really just dive down into nothingness. But like with so many other tricks where you drop down from feet, it's not just diving, but like it's absorbing. You grab the line with your hands and you guide it towards your shoulders. And you also can bend your leg to already be lower down with the body. So next I go, I grab the line and I transition to shoulder. Yeah, mainly a commitment thing, but definitely good to already be stable in the shoulder bounce, because if you're not stable in the shoulder bounce and make a mistake, it's not the nicest thing to have the line just like slide out from the shoulder or make weird movements when you're upside down. Now the next one is 1 foot exposure, and instead of balancing only in this area, you also want to balance left right, so you take out the arms a bit, you shift the weight on 1 foot and you try to keep balance like this on 1 foot. Ideally try both feet to not become one-sided. Now the Fireflip, like the flow flip and all these tricks, it's kind of a brain fuck trick, I would say. And Fireflip, like you can just do a Fireflip and land in Korean as a pre-exercise. For this you don't need a monster bounce, and you want to start with the leash on one side of your leg. And you remember with the flow flip, I was going down to the Korean and was diving there. And instead of diving like to my left, I just dive to my right. It's kind of the same initiation, except that I dive to a different side. So I bounce, I go down to Korean. Now I grab the line with one hand and I dive like this. This was the Fireflip to Korean. But in this level, it's not the goal to do a Fireflip to Korean, but a Fireflip to feet, which looks pretty amazing in my opinion. I really love that trick. So one more time. So for this level, you want to walk 10 steps. So you have to decide who walks to the front, who walks to the back. I'm gonna walk backwards. Timon will follow me. 1, 2, he has to push the leash a bit. 3.
Oh, leash is stuck.
Leash is stuck, that sometimes happens. Yeah. I think 2 more steps and we managed. Yoo-hoo, that's it. So this was the challenge. Now for the almighty flip. There is different versions. You can bounce in X-bow, you can bounce straight, whatever you prefer. And it's important to have a pretty big bounce. And you can also decide if you want to go for the front or for the back version. So bounce big, and in the middle of the way up, you initiate the rotation. And it's important to hook later. And as a pre-exercise, you can, for example, also just while bouncing, try to grab the line from below with the foot, see how that works, because in the end it's important to do like a pressure with both feet, one pressing down, the other pressing up, so that the line is really hooked. And the hook should stay only very short. Most people hook way too long on the almighty at the beginning. They hook too early and let go too late, but you want to hook pretty late and let go pretty early, like this one. Almost. I think one more time for me. Additionally, when doing the almighty, I have the leash to the side, at least for the first tries, that if you do a back almighty and you totally mishit the line, that the leash doesn't end up like between the legs, but that you just go on the side, and you should have the leash on the side where you do not hook. Now for the freeze, it's clearly better if you already learned that on a shorter slack line and you're already capable to do it before you try on a high line. It's important to really bring the elbow to the belly button, and some people go with both elbows like that. I prefer having this technique with one arm to the side. I think both techniques are about the same difficulty. So I turn that hand and I start extending myself until I'm here only on my hands and can enjoy the view down or flirt with the camera. So let's get started with the back shapeshifter. It's not the most usual trick to do. There are not many people who go for that trick, but I chose it on purpose because I realized that even on a higher level, many people are scared to just jump backwards into a backflip out of this position. It's actually so much fun to do so. And here it's important that the leash stays on your side, because imagine doing a backflip while having the leash in between. So you also want to have the leash on the side of your knee. You can, for that, even kind of block the leash like I do right now with my foot. Then go for a really big bounce, because you're gonna need a lot of momentum, and then do a backflip, and the line you catch will be blind. You will just have to put the hand here and catch the line somewhere above your head, and the timing is extremely important for that one. If you go too late or too early, it just does not work. So many tries until you manage. Just go for a pretty big expo bounce. Let's see if I manage right away. Okay, let's go. Oopala. Here I went too big, I got the line, but I didn't have the control to get it back to feet. I'm gonna try to show you a better version. And back to feet this time. So I can really recommend this trick. It takes a lot of commitment, but it's so rewarding when you catch the line. So for the reverse rocket mount, the leash handling is normally not super important. I like to have it between the feet. Some people like to have it on the side. Do whatever you want. And with the rocket mount, we were used to like in the lowest point of the bounce, that the legs, you start in the front, and in the lowest point of the bounce they go backwards. And with the reverse rocket mount, it should be exactly the opposite. And as a pre-exercise for the reverse rocket mount, you can drop down from feet to the other side and just go back to belly. And from here on, you have to take a bigger momentum and try to almost do a hand pop to feet from there on. Of course, not resting in the belly position, but just going on. I'm gonna show you that. Drop down to the front, kick to the front in the lowest point of the bounce, and go back to feet and try to hold the bounce. There is another technique too, where you drop backwards down, but you still kick to the front in the lowest point of the bounce. That means you have to move faster on the way down. It's not my technique. I'm still gonna try to show you that one. Again, take a big bounce. Here we go. Just on the way down, you have to do kind of the fish motion, and it also works. Now for the shrimp mount, personally I like to have the leash on the side, but you can also have it In the middle, you go down into a normal rocket mount, and then you pass between the hands, but you don't let go with the hands. You just put some counter pressure with the hands and arms and try to anyway just go for a rocket mount. Let's see how that looks. Kind of this, just with a landing. Gotta work on that one a bit to show you a nicer version of it. So this was level 9 of the Highline Ticklist. I hope you enjoyed. Drop a like if you did so, and get ready for the highest level of the Highline Ticklist. And if you reach level 9, you're already a super strong highliner, but still some work in front of you, because even level 10, there is not the hardest tricks that people think. It's just the hardest tricks that the strongest highliners kind of got consistently.